Hi, I'm Mephisto, and this is the final fight with Baal on my Frozen Orb Sorceress. The reason I start with the end is that Baal dropped one really good item that I would like to give away, so stick with me to the end to see this journey, so you get the chance to learn how to participate. This build was inspired by something I found on day one with my lightning traps. In the tower I found this sacred globe that turned out to be really nice. You can see over here it gives 4 points to Frozen Orb, faster cast rate, life and resists. So I tried to merge this with another idea, a build that is inspired and is guided by ChatGPT. You can see on the screen the build for levels 1 to 18 that starts as a cold sorceress and not the usual fire sorceress. So I created my sorceress called ChatGPT on ladder and headed into Act 1. There wasn't anything too interesting in the early stages of the build, so you can see that fight with Recognition was just fine. Then I moved to the tower. The Countess was generous enough, so I got the needed runes in a few runs for an hour and 16 minutes. After that I did some Tristram runs so I can gain some levels as I was doing P1 on ladder. The most challenging part of the normal run was this area after I gained a few levels in Tristram and I headed to find Duriel. The reason being I'm using Ice Blast as a cold sorceress and it does not have AoE. I'm using Frost Nova for the crowd control, but the AoE is not good enough. The damage is a bit low in these early stages and my build has just 1 point because of the item I use. I found this really good orb with 3 Ice Blast and this is the item that gives me Frost Nova. I'm also using Magic Find Helm, it's a sorceress after all. The Duriel run was pretty quick. At this point I think I had like 9, 10, 11 points into Ice Blast and Duriel was down in less than a minute. For Act 2 I decided to find some random games and join a group that was a bit ahead of me. So we got to Duriel pretty quickly. Good thing in this early stages of the game is that people are not very interested in the loot, so I was able to easily get one of the rare rings. With the same group I got to Act 3 where I was playing the Telesorc and it was something nice. I'm not much of a sorceress player and I really enjoyed this time when I could teleport around, find waypoints, find the different quest items and share them with the team. Of course this was a higher player count, so it was challenging. I really enjoyed it. Together we fought Mephisto as well. It was easy fight with the static field. This time from this loot I was able to get this pair of heavy boots. Turned out to be pretty nice roll. Fire resist, half freeze duration and magic find. My normal Hellforge was pretty generous, perfect amethyst and a north rune. I couldn't be happier about it. Moving forward to the Diablo fight, this is just the end of the fight. Again, it was nothing special. Diablo was rather easy to kill and the loot was pretty underwhelming, unfortunately. At this point I was just level 21 actually, so I went back to do some tomb runs so I could gain several more levels. At level 29 I was ready to move forward to Act 5 and see what is ahead of me. One thing I enjoy in Act 5 is saving Anya for the item she gives. You can see she gave me 20 faster cast rate, or nothing special, just a tiny upgrade. This is my Baal fight, and as you can see, Baal goes down pretty quickly, but unfortunately that matches the loot that I got from him. This is how I beat normal difficulty with my ChatGPT Sorceress. Then I moved to doing some Baal runs so I can level up even further and be ready to respec into the end game build that ChatGPT gave me. And you can see it on the screen. Frozen Orb 20 points, Teleport 20 points, Cold Mastery 20 points and 1 point Wonders. No synergy for Frozen Orb to mention. I respect into the endgame build, put my 4 Frozen Orb build and head into Nightmare. In Nightmare I was really overpowered. The extra points in Frozen Orb gave me a lot of damage, everything was dying with a single orb, it was mostly players 1. Unfortunately the Countess was not generous with soul runes and it took me quite a while until I got my first insight. Neon Duriel run was okay, she was rather quick to kill, again nothing too special with the drop that she gave me. On the other hand, Duriel was pretty generous with the drop and I got a pair of Frostburn gloves, which was a really nice boost to my mana. As you can see on the screen, it's just over 200. For Act 3 I also opted for public games and I found a group that I was able to easily go through the act. I was not in a mood to do it myself. I was still rather powerful for the game and it was okay to move by myself. I decided to leave the party just before the Mephisto run and do that by myself. In the Durance of Hate was my first death. I just teleported into an extra fast group and I instantly died. One thing to note for my build is that I don't have static field. Again, that's something ChatGPT suggested. I was able to cheese Mephisto with the mold trick, although my resists were rather good at this point, or I would be able to fight one-on-one with him. Once again, the loot, the drop was nothing interesting, nothing that worth mentioning. Then the next notable thing was in the Chaos Sanctuary, where this Might Aura boss group was able to take me for the second time, my second death of the run. Once again, as with the normal run, this time with the Frozen Orb, Diablo was rather quick to kill, and unfortunately another run without any notable drop. This is a very quick status of my character at level 48. The gear that I'm using is random soul cell found things that you can expect. Again, in Act 5 the most interesting thing for me is saving Anya. This orb was not better than the one I had. The Nightmare Ancients were another easy fight, nothing too interesting. The only problem I had through Nightmare was with mana. As I mentioned, I did not have an insight until very late in this run. The Nightmare Baal run was yet another pretty quick, pretty easy fight, nothing to remember it with. After Baal, I decided to go finish the new attack quest so I can personalize the orb that I was using. And I was too cocky at this stage, like fighting all the act bosses very easily. With an experience shrine, I head straight into new attack and died. On the next run I was very cautious and managed to personalize my orb, and I'm really happy with this. It's the reason I made this run after all. And I was ready for hell difficulty. You can see my character level 52 with OK resists. The thing with this run is that at this point I had already capped my damage. Like I had 20 points, Frozen Orb 20 points, Cold Master, and that was the ceiling for me. As you can see, I had another very quick death just after I teleported into a boss pack. As I was only cold damage, I couldn't do my Den of Evil quest, so I teleported all the way through Act 1 to Duriel for my first Hell boss fight. The boss fight was okay, even despite the fact that I had capped my damage. It was okay for Hell difficulty. I was surprised. I expected way more struggle with the damage. I was able to finish Duriel in a minute or two, and I was ready for Act 2. In Act 2 I had another unfortunate death because of the ghosts in Arcane Sanctuary. Another instance of me teleporting in the wrong place and these ghosts just drinking my mana and killing me in a second. Once again, Duriel was pretty generous with the drops. He is becoming my favorite boss. So what he dropped is a pair of Goblin Toe and a Lava Gout. In Act 3 I was still pleasantly surprised by the damage output of my Frozen Orb Sorceress. I was able to clear wherever the monsters were not cold immune pretty quickly, pretty safely as well. As you can see, I got the eye without any problem. One thing I couldn't do was Ruined Temple to get the Dark Book. There was just too much density, most of the mobs were cold immune, so I gave away. Travinkle was the next challenge, not very big challenge, only Torque Ice Fist was immune to cold, so I just had to skip him. He was not the one with Kalim's Flail, so that was nice. This time I couldn't clear the area, the Endurance of Hate level 3, and I had to fight with Mephisto one-on-one around the red portal. So it was a bit more challenging than the Nightmare run. Still, I managed to do okay, and I'm happy with how it went. Unfortunately, another instance of no significant drop. In Plains of Despair in Act 4, the ghosts were able to kill me once more. Just one hit, one lightning of this group, and I was down. So I got my gear and tried once again. I was like, okay, I have the map, I can move forward. I tried to go around that pack. There was another pack that just killed me with one lightning. So with all this suffering, I think the game wanted to give me something back. After the Plains of Despair, the City of the Damned was the best map. Right in when I entered the area, I got my town portal. One place where my damage was not good enough was Mephisto. Like I had to fight with him for a few minutes at least, maybe several minutes. I died once. The Hellforge itself was not the best. I got an IO room, which was okay, because I used this IO room to create a cure helm. For the next step, my Lord of the Seas fight, who is always cold immune, I needed a 4 open socket polearm so I can create my first insight. I had already collected the runes at this point. I went back to Nightmare, I fought with cows. I was a bit overexcited for cow level being terrorized, although I was rather low level and the cow level was still level 64, which is the default cow level. In 30-40 minutes I was able to find my 4 open socket polearm, and I built my first insight, which rolled level 17 meditation. I hired a prayer mercenary, which is a nice addition in 2.6 because of the cure helm. So with this setup I was ready to go into the Chaos Sanctuary and meet Lord of the Seas. It was still challenging, it was fun, I really enjoyed this fight. I had to run away from the Oblivion Knights. I had to reposition my mercenary all the time so he can do the kills of the regular Oblivion Knights. We'll get to Lord of the Seas in a second. So I was ready to spawn Lord of the Seas, and actually the fight with the Lord himself was okay. After I had cleaned the room around it, my mercenary was able to take him in less than a minute, which was surprising, pleasantly surprising. Then Diablo was not a big threat. Once again, teleporting around, just running away from him. I got a skill shrine, I had an experience shrine very close to me, so I was able to take him quickly. I had another very unfortunate death into the Crystalline Passage. This boss pack just took me down in seconds. Hell Ancients was another challenging fight that I expected and I think I had prepared for. Talik and Madauk were cursed, Madauk was extra strong, and Core Relic was only teleportation, which is the best combination I have ever seen, and I was able to fight them pretty quickly, pretty safe. So after I was done with Talik and Madauk, Core Relic was pretty easy for my mercenary. I was absolutely astonished that the two of them solved this one-on-one. I was just giving potions to my mercenary from time to time. The prayer, cure and insight combo really paid off. The last challenge was Baal. For some unobvious reason, I was pretty scared of wave 2 and I wanted to learn how to do Baal wave skips. So I started watching different content, different YouTube videos by different creators. I started counting to 9, to 5, to 3, to 5, to 9, to 1 in different languages that I more or less can talk. And after an hour in normal attempts where I was trying to skip a Baal wave, I gave up and decided to give the Hell Baal waves a try. On my last normal Baal run, I got this clasped orb, which turned out to be another very interesting item. This time it gives 5 to Meteor, and I'm starting to think whether it is worth it to do another playthrough as a sorceress just so I can use this orb. So after an hour on successful Baal skip attempts, I decided to go back and give the Baal himself a try. My throne room was really nice, there were no cold immune monsters, so this was a good sign. I still gave it a try to skip the Baal waves, unfortunately without any success. Turned out that wave 2 was not that big of a problem that I initially anticipated. So with some back and forth of my mercenary, just kiting the monsters, going back to town and trying to kill them one by one, I was able to clear wave 2 and then the following waves. Wave 5 allowed me to gain my last level 67. With it I put one final point into energy shield, which completed my initial ChatGPT build. This is my final gear that I finished this run with. As you can see, everything but the orb is things I found on my run. Level 76 with 65% FCR, 20 teleport, 20 frozen orb, 20 cold mastery, and my mercenary insight, random armor, cure helm and a prayer aura. And here we are where we started with my fight with Baal. In this fight he drops the best item I've seen so far in this run, in Shooter's Temper. It rolled 3 sorcerer skills, 20 fire skill damage and 16 lightning damage with 26 energy. And I'm not much of a sorceress player, so I'd like to give this orb away to one of my viewers. If you'd like to have this Shooter's Temper, please write down a comment and I'll do a raffle and we'll pick who's the winner, contact them and we'll give this orb away. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if that's the case. Bye for now.